like this before, and I can't afford to cry. I got work in the morning, I got bills, I got family ties. You're playing with the piece of me I try not to reason with, not trying to make it clear. Wonder why you even here. Don't you know I can't be caught up on no bullshit. I don't got the time. Don't care who you with or what you're doing. I'm doing it right. Self-care, self-love, selfish. Self-care, self-love, selfish. And I want you to know that I did try my best with you. I cut off all my hoes, that was just for you and I don't got the time. I'm doing it right. Self-love, self-care, selfish, baby. Self-love, self-care, I'm selfish as fuck right now. Right now, 'cause a nigga ain't gon' pay all these bills. They ain't about to let me know. I just don't got the time, 'cause y'all niggas ain't shit. Y'all niggas ain't shit no more. So I gotta put myself in the front. Know what I want and I gotta be fine by myself, alone with myself, and I'm taking my time. I'm doing this right. Self-love, self-care,
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips in the balance of the favor of fair use. I'm spiritual, but navigating this complex relationship that I have with religion and my spirituality and the labeling of faith. You see, spirituality isn't new for Black women of faith, but now we're openly talking about it. And the first time that multiple religious belonging was even talked about, we would just stay in our original dogma. You see, multiple religious belongings refer to situations when someone participates in rituals of more than one spiritual tradition. It's about having a duality in your faith. Know now that you cannot separate the culture of a people from the spirit of the people. Quote by Ayanla Van Zandt. You will learn that there are many paths that lead to one road, and realize that the divine doesn't care if you are somebody who practices African traditional religion or Christian. The divine just wants you to love yourself. And when we are crossing all of these religious beliefs in our research of spirituality, Black women, we were taught by our conservative Christian grandmother when you were going through the transition of womanhood. You see, we never thought of ourselves as a religious pluralists, meaning knowing many different types of religion. We were raised in church and hold a deep respect for the divine's word as we were taught from the Bible. Christianity is the majority of our foundation of faith. However, there is something deep that is within us that shifted and awakened. And it could have been sudden, and it could have been brought on by other traumatic things that were going on in our lives. You see, we were and we still are in search of a divine intimacy. And we find that there's a need more and more in our spiritual toolbox that can carry us through all different seasons of our lives. We can sit here and pray for guidance on a daily. And then one day you'll have an epiphany and remember things that were said to you about having the power to tap in within and unlock your own spiritual and your own ancestral roots. It's a glimmer of light. And even though the next step into your spiritual discovery, as it begins and continues, allows yourself to see and ask questions and pull things from other spiritual houses that resonates on a soul level. It could be Cometics, which is Egyptian spirituality. It could be Vedic yoga, which is from the Indian meditation. Or it can just be simply our own ancestral altar work. What I find in spirituality is that it's just a spiritual exploration to find out how our relationship with the divine is without having a middleman, but truly immersing yourself into that by any means necessary by learning other things. You can go and meet with somebody from the Buddhist religion and help you walk through the different prayer levels or mazes and doing all of the very different things to connect spirituality away from the church, because so much of your relationship that you have with our elders or even in the community is always connected to church. Sometimes we find ourselves being pushed into, oh, let me take that back, negate that word. Sometimes being led into spirituality might even come up, like in my case, it came up because of grief, because of grief. And I felt the church makes me feel as though I had to owe the divine any type of relationship to understand why, by way of a representative. Sometimes we don't feel like we have to perform some type of holiness or even righteous grief. Sometimes grief is ugly. It's ugly. And it triggers in us different things. One of the hardest things that can happen is to come to terms with the fact that so much of our faith identity is grounded and rooted in what we were taught, and not so much what we believe or what we felt or what we experienced. And death can expose a lot of cracks in all of that idea. If you love the word, there's so many different versions of the word. If you love calling yourself that, know that your background of being a Christian or whatever you identify with, in the fact that you were following in the footsteps of the Son and rooted and grounded in that same thing, and you call yourself a seeker of truth because you're constantly looking for ways to feel and to connect with spirit. My God, welcome to Blended Healing. Now, don't get me wrong. There is definitely an intertwining between traditional Christian beliefs, Islamic beliefs, and so on and so forth. But we have learned as Black women that we can still set up an ancestral altar. We can practice yoga, sit in a mindfulness meditation, and get a tarot card reading, and still make it to church on Sunday. There is faith among our people. And the majority of our Black Americans align with Christianity. But we also embrace a diverse range of spiritual practices and beliefs that extend beyond the confines, the four walls, the brick and mortar of the church. There's so many different things that usins can do. There's a large amount of us that believe in reincarnation. They We pray to our ancestors. We go to church, but we also meditate daily. Some people call that meditation. Others call that prayer. And then there's prayer at home at the altar. And we do that maybe once a week. You see, it's our history that has been coming down the path to enlighten us. Things that were done in the dark before have now come to light and has reemerged to show us a different way, back to the old way. We have developed over time a new way of looking at our own spiritual identity in an effort to catch up to where our Black young adults have been all along, and not really having to check a box to say that we have arrived. When we say things or hear things like, I'm spiritual, we're really talking about the shift that has been allowed to come to light. My God, I'm so thankful for that shift, where people say, I'm going to go to church and I'm going to grab this from over here on the internet and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And we're merging and melding things all together, just like our foreparents did. Thank God for them, our ancestors. Borrowing things from other religious belief systems doesn't mean that we belong to it. And if you talk to people who, like, say, for instance, an African traditional religion like Ifa, they may have a problem with the way that people tap in and out of their sacred traditions. But we borrow from it in the same way that other people sample other people's music. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we ascribe to all of that. We just borrow the meditation from Buddha, yoga, from Hinduism. We may have dietary habits like in Islam, but we don't belong to those groups. In the traditional sense, those communities understand belonging. And when you start deep diving into the concept of multiple religious belonging, we are being encouraged to think of it as being a religious spectrum across the board. Understanding this new thing called spirituality. When we are in here trying to find our own new path, our own new path, it goes Even deeper than that, it goes by demographics, it goes by geography. It could be one thing practiced over here in the city, but in the country, it's something different. A lot of our women are turning away from organized religion in a decade. I can tell you when I looked this up, there is at least anywhere between 11 to 15% fewer Black people who consider themselves Christian, and 7% or more claim to be unaffiliated with the religion today, because our young Black adults are less religious and less engaged in Black churches than the older generations. Turn around, as they say, and touch somebody and say, do you see? That does not mean that our people aren't hungry for a spiritual connection. It just says that people are looking for a spiritual connection beyond traditional churches, and for a few reasons. Some have bad experience in the places of worship. Others feel like Black women's experiences aren't represented enough in the church leadership. People who are looking for the spaces in order for them evolve, to ascend, and to be innovative, maybe dissatisfied, because churches are institutions, and institutions are slow to change. When we were locked down because of C-19, a lot of us had to reinvent how we went to church. We went to church online. Everything was online, accessible online. We had to be reinventive. Some of us even held church services in our home. You feel me? And what ended up happening? So really put on your thinking cap about this. Whatever happened to that? You know what happened? That we spent more time with each other and found out how we felt about each other. And some of it was not cute. But another thing happened. We had access to the internet, where more information was being pushed out, where we can sit down, read a book, join a club, watch church online, learn how to meditate to control ourselves, learn how to really get in the prayer closets. That's what happened. We learned that we recognized the need to go back to basics because we didn't have access like we're used to. And for some of us, it was a whole new world, baby. Now you go back and you think about when your grandmother had a garden, or your mother had a garden, or she would have a room where she had plants, and if something went wrong with you, she would go over there and say, break that leaf off over there and crack that leaf over here and put that on here. You feel me? We had to learn how to be self-sufficient by the ways of the ancestors knocking on our door, saying, remember me. There was a need, and our Black women want to embrace more and more of our African heritage and implement African and African diasporic spiritual practices and begin to deepen our relationship and bonds with our ancestors who are knocking at the door to help us. To help us. Your intention of your ancestors were to answer the questions that you were asking on how do I protect and help my family? How do I hold on to a belief to save my family? How can I save myself? The ancestors answered you by telling you that your spiritual practice that was given to us, that was learned, that was brought with us over here, that was forbidden and feared by people who did not know, by those owners of those plantations that they were on. Your ancestors answered that call and they said, baby, go back and remember what I taught you generations ago about the solutions that we have given you in spite of it being stamped demonic, stamped non-believers, stamped oppressed, stamped dehumanizing by a religious connotation of those of the other side. But the ancestors came back and said, I know how to help my people to get out of this oppression, to get out of people controlling us and telling us what we can and cannot do. They said, come home. Let me show you something different. All of that generational fear that was passed down in connection to openly discussing the practices like hoodoo, conjure, and root work connected to our own African spirituality. And some of these ancestors found a way around this erasure of the spiritual practices that can help our culture. It got so deep that in order to save the family and themselves, they would have to have something called hush harbors, secluded areas in the woods where they can commune and worship as they wanted to. You see, they were able to retain some of their African spiritual guardians by infusing them and tricking the man, knowing that they were hidden in the Catholic saints or as the Christian Holy Spirit of the living God. You see, our ancestors utilized everything that they could in order to access, in order to survive. So when C-19 came in, they said, I hear your prayer. Tap into our spirit world and let us become one. Let us teach you how to remember how important it is to give us a sense of power back, which was taken from us long ago. You see, giving the ancestors a way of reinventing themselves into the here and now. And it's not, I don't want you to get it twisted. It's not about rejecting Christianity, Islam, or whatever you believe in. It's a matter of getting back to basics and learning about hoodoo, conjure, and Christianity all together, because that's what we had. A sprinkle of this, a sprinkle of that, and a sprinkle of this. And made that shit work. Spirituality is about breaking free, and mixing of the rituals and the faith has been present in every generation. And what we're seeing today is the freedom of the Black woman, the Black man, to live that reality much more publicly. It shows that there is religious fluidity, a matter of the flow that gives us permission to tap into the wholeness of who we are, and to bring all of those pieces into alignment and allow them to be in a synergy called spirituality. There is inspiration to be found in your faith journey from multiple spiritual houses: Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism. It goes on and on. Kyonyin. Some of our mission is to be more Christ-like and offer service, spirituality, through the teachings of spirituality, through the teachings of the divine source energy, the Son of the living God. We were taught those things, how to be in service to one another. It's not about denying our background. It's about taking that information that we have and received about the teachings of the ascended masters, that includes Christ, right? And taking those teachings as a guidepost on how we can live our lives in all moments, even though you may not consider yourself a Christian. You can still understand the mastery of learning about Christianity, about Islam, about Hinduism, about Buddhism, about conjure, about hoodoo. Do you get what I'm saying? Spirituality equals service, something bigger than ourselves, that includes ourselves. The way that we wish to move in this world. And not keeping that focus on just you, me. We couldn't survive as a people overall. And instead of being devoted to an organization that we belong to, it should always be the devotion of the divine first. Believe, and then finding the system or finding the religion that best helps you access the divine and meet our spiritual needs, transcending those labels, allowing yourself to adopt new practices that can open up your connection to the mother, the father, the grandmother, the grandfather, the cousins in the spiritual. You are able to commune with them every day at your altar and even develop a relationship with them that transcends this earthly plane. And that literally can save you. And in the process, it doesn't allow you to lose your faith in the divine. But what it does, it expands it. And maybe it's just time that we focus less on the labels and embrace how powerful it is that we get to choose how we worship. Whether that's going to Sunday service or being a bedside Baptist or attending group meditations. We are so privileged to have freedom over our spirituality, and that freedom is an answered prayer of our ancestors. Mm, how sweet that is. How sweet. Let's tap it. I had to put on some music. I hope that you can hear me speaking. The message today is that you are a star, baby. You are going through a spiritual rebirth that's telling you it is your season of renewal and there is sunshine after the storm. You have been through it, and like those who came before you are more than a survivor. You are a thriver. Others are seeing your beauty inside and out. Being vulnerable can feel emotionally awkward, but allow your vulnerability to be the strength and the superpower. Come as you are. Step into the limelight. Be seen, be heard, be a movement. You are the star of your own show called life. You are blessed. You are blessed. Allow yourself to receive. You are being inspired, beloved, to be tuned into your deeply intuitive, powerful magic. All things are possible. You are in the flow. You have been chosen to dream bigger and to expand your bloodline. Be generous and loving and share the wealth. You are unapologetically you. You are the huntress in a soul awakening, and cycles are ending so that you can be renewed. You are moving toward a new era and looking back at the lessons that you will learn. This is a season where you are analyzing your life and signs and answers are being shown to you, but you must be willing to see them. You are in a period of sacred awakening. Continue self-reflection. Your ancestors, traditionally a judge, a jury, and an executioner, is all about accountability. And this is a call to action. And there's always a second chance. And this is a time for reflection and reckoning. Revelations are unfolding for you in this period of personal reckoning, pregnant with the opportunity for renewal and rebirth. You are loving, going to release the past and make way for the future. Ashe. You are the mother of fire, the shine and the rise. Yes, you own it all, baby. The good, the bad, the potentially ugly. Own your power. Living life by your own rules is not easy, but this is what is necessary for you. Let the haters hate. You enjoy the attention. You have the power of influence. Use it wisely. You got next. 3 children and 2 pets. As you birthing new ideas, your stair-step children. Many are warmed by the bright light that you shine. And this makes you a magnet and social butterfly. When you choose to be, use the powers of the influence that you have for good. For good. Kaboom. Guess who stepped in the room? You did. You have inherited your ancestors' passion, enthusiastic panache for standing out. Declare that you are confident and you are a magnet. Ashe, Ashe. And when you're stepping into the unknown, the enigma, are you still trying to control everything? The answers that you are looking for are unknowable at this moment, or the divine is not ready to give it to you, the full picture right now. Nothing is certain. This is not a yes or a no, but a pause. Trust that the unknown is about having unwavering faith. Believe in your bones that your ancestors have come back and are guiding you towards something greater, if it may feel scary. But when you trust, amazing things can happen. The unknown calls you to step into a world of infinite avenues where dreams are born and miracles unfold, and let go of the expectations and open up yourself to what it could be. You see, if something is out of alignment with your nervous system, you will reject it. All of your intentions, all of your goals, all of your dreams and plans. It is so important to become uncomfortable with being comfortable so that you can continue to take risks and grow and evolve and expand. Know that you are being guided and protected. Ashe, Ashe. On the altar of air is your clarity. All will be revealed. Are you watching and listening? Suddenly it will make sense to you. It's your season to speak the naked truth, even if your voice shakes. Your own personal sword of truth can cut through all the BS. The ancestor comes through in times of breakthrough and fresh starts. This is a shift. You are being pushed toward your ashe, your life purpose energy. If you haven't already experienced at least one classic light bulb moment, you are about to. Sacred items representing the wind element can include bells, feathers, incense, knives, or swords, fans, streamers, string, or woodwind instruments, wind chimes, diffusers, and images of the sky, heavens, and angels of fairies is what you need. You can see clearly now. And as the creature of fire, you're choosing freedom. Look at you, riding up on your own white horse. You are a leader. Your vision for personal liberation is clear. Your passion is fired up, and you are full steam ahead. Your enthusiasm, your confidence are magnetic. In matters of love, you may not be able to distinguish love from lust, and you may not care. This energy is irresistible in the matters of your career. Your lust for life is propelling you forward. Get ready for the change. The moment is coming up to make shift happen. Beautiful child, sometimes your intense, fiery energy can be all over the place. You are so quick to anger. Get grounded. Go to nature and put your feet in the earth, the sand, or even the ocean. Touch the grass. It's great to be bursting with energy, but calm down and take a moment. You're doing too much. I know that you are on fire, and your declaration is to make it happen. And all of that is coming underneath because of the simple fact that, baby, your strength is being tested. But you got this. Stay the course. Beautiful. Confront your fears and your insecurities with courage. Trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. You are multi-passionate, a natural leader. Stand up for yourself and express your needs clearly while maintaining grace and respect for others. Powerful you are beyond measure, and the ancestors of your ancestors are walking in strength and fortitude alongside you. You will not only survive your current challenge, but you're going to thrive. My child, you are in charge of your life. Some of your ancestors had their natural leadership abilities beaten into quiet submission, but you have the chance to own your power, strength. Declare in a loud voice that I am stronger than I ever thought possible. I want to thank you for stopping by Blended Healing on today. Spirituality is who I am. spirituality is who you are. In service, we are together. My Ashe deep bows to your Ashe. And I shall see you all very, very soon.